So how do you like your fruit? Well, we're watching the Burnt Orange Heresy on Film Reviews. Hi, I'm Alan Ning, managing editor of Film Threat. I'm with Zorianna Kit, and today we're talking about the Burnt Orange Heresy. Charming and ambitious art critic James Figueras has fallen from grace. His only glimmer of hope is found in the love of an American, Bernice Hollis, and he has an opportunity when he's asked to steal a painting from a legendary reclusive artist. This movie stars Claes, Elizabeth Debicki, Donald Sutherland, and Mick Jagger. All right, so Zorianna, let's just start off by talking about the first conceit of the movie, and it's this idea that what is art, or what is the value of art? Is it in its intrinsic qualities, or is it in the story behind the art?
Well, yes, and that is the question of the film. Who does an artist's art belong to? To the painter, or does it belong to the world? And if the artist destroys his own work, is it a crime because they have just deprived it from others to enjoy? So that is the conceit of this film. I love how this film starts. I mean, the tone is set immediately. It starts off with what we think is the truth, then that truth is revealed to be a lie, and then corrected with the truth, which is actually, once again, a lie.
Yeah, and what I found, let me just interrupt for a second, but what I found interesting about that is it's all done in a lecture. It's not, yes. It's being told to us, and it's so convincing. It is so well presented.
Yes.
And it makes the point right off the bat within the first 5 minutes.
And so there is the tone for this movie. We have a bunch of sophisticated, beautiful, educated people in the art world who are lying or not lying, and no one trusts each other because liars can spot other liars, so therefore they don't believe the other person. And there's these double crosses that keep happening because we don't know how this is all going to end up. And the way it ends up is not what I had imagined.
Yeah, let's hit the plot up a little bit. But James and Bernice, they're asked to visit a renowned painter who's played by Donald Sutherland, and Mick Jagger hires them. Mick Jagger's character hires them to steal the painting. So I know, throwing out the celebrity names. And so this is where the movie becomes kind of a thriller in a way. And it's interesting because you don't realize it's a thriller until about halfway through the movie.
Yes. And there's all these little things that they've sprinkled throughout. There's all this talk about flies, and then we see a fly that's like buzzing around someone, and then later we just see a whole pile of flies in the mud, and then of course at the end there's another thing of flies, which I don't want to mention. So there's these recurring themes that occur in the film as well, and it's all so very fascinating. These are probably the world's most elegant and eloquent liars that we'll meet, and it's done so well.
I mean, I gave it an 8 out of 10. It is a good thriller. Again, you don't even know you're in a thriller until halfway through, and then you're just starting to, it just unpeels and unravels what's really happening. Not in just the case of stealing the painting, but between the Donald Sutherland character and the world, basically, and the art world. And I just love the fact that you don't know where we're going, and when you finally get there, it's incredible to kind of look back and see where you've been.
My only issue with the film, as much as the ending really made me audibly gasp at the screen when I was watching it, it was a little bit, I wondered why these sophisticated people would end up in that situation that was so gasp-inducing. Because if they are so sharp in terms of other people's lies, or if they are doing things, how I don't understand why they resorted to behaving the way they did, because it almost seemed too inconsistent with their characters to have it get to that terrible point.
Well, I think it's the idea that you can lie and then build one lie upon another, but at some point there's that Jenga piece you pull out that sends it all tumbling down, and it's protecting that loose Jenga piece, and you do whatever you can to make sure it stays there and no one touches it.
Yeah, I guess that's a good analogy. I think that's exactly what happened here. Yeah.
As much thrillers, we kind of say, okay, here's the thriller, here's the ending, and boom. But to me, there's a tragic element to the end. I mean, there's so much going on that works so beautifully, like a painting in a way. At the same time, I can, I gave it an 8, but I can understand if people don't get it, or if it just turns them off right at the beginning, because it's not blatant about what it wants to be or what it becomes. Now, if you're looking for a really good Donald Sutherland performance, this is the movie to see.
Really? You thought that?
Well, I loved it. It's simple. He's got, it's just only he could really pull that role off, unlike Mick Jagger. For what that character is, I just love Sutherland's portrayal of it. Mick Jagger, on the other hand, felt like stunt casting, and you would think he'd be a better actor than he was.
So that's so funny you say that, because I'm a little bit inverted on that. First of all, I got such a kick out of seeing Mick Jagger there. I do think that he started off kind of like a little creaky, but in that last scene with the art gallery where the deed's been done and this is the big public showcase, I thought he really was in his element. I do think that it was stunt casting. Yes, I could see maybe Willem Dafoe playing that role a lot better, but I didn't mind it. I really thought that it was so interesting to see him do that, and I bought it. For me, Donald Sutherland, he's always good, and so I'm not disputing his ability on this role, but I sort of felt like that was almost like a stunt casting. I felt like everything he said were really long monologues, and I felt that like it was almost like anytime he entered the room, it was like, oh, stage right, we're in a play, and everything felt more like it was theater. And here is Donald Sutherland doing a monologue and telling some big story or some big exposition. And he softened around Elizabeth Debicki, but other than that, I don't know. I'm not quite sold on him in that character.
Well, I think, I'll say this. That's a tough role to do. And you need someone good, because someone lesser talent would make that role feel, a little more, like what Mick Jagger did with his character. To me, oh, go ahead.
His character is supposed to be world famous, super reclusive painter. So, but I don't know, maybe you needed someone less famous in that role, or maybe, I don't know, maybe you do need a Donald Sutherland who is super famous and you could eventually be reclusive.
So I give it 8 out of 10. What did you give it?
I also gave it an 8 out of 10, Alan.
All
for
right.
reasons, you and I, but 8 out of 10 still, nevertheless.
Well, can't be based on one performance or two.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, come on, Elizabeth Debicki, she's fabulous. I remember watching her on screen in Widows.
Oh,
How amazing was she? And I almost feel like Hollywood doesn't know what to do with her or how to cast her. She's this statuesque woman, almost a chameleon. I mean, she can play so many different characters, and she's so underrated. So I thought she was great. And then her co-star, the art dealer, yes, he was in the movie The Square, which was Oscar nominated. That was him and Elizabeth Moss, a two-hander there. And that one was so good. He was so good. Kind of looks like a role Pierce Brosnan would have played in his younger years. But so the acting between those two, and then Mick Jagger and Donald Sutherland, you really do get a cast that's fantastic. So
they definitely pull it off. If I were to get really nitpicky about Elizabeth Debicki, it's the American accent she puts on. But you know,
Minnesota accent, right? Wasn't she from Minnesota? Her
yeah,
character.
and I think in Widows wasn't that a New England accent?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's slightly noticeable. She's getting better, so
Yeah.
but it's still a great performance and definitely
Yeah.
worth watching. In fact, that's the reason to see really Burnt Orange are these performances.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is the Film Threat Review Show. Visit filmthreat.com for news and reviews of the popular independent films coming out today. And with that, we'll see you later.